online too. Oh, it is.
Almighty God, we come before you this morning, Lord, just praise you for who you are, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I thank you for what you've done, for making a way for us through the wilderness of this crazy mixed up world. God, I lift up this meeting today, the people that are here, our commissioners, and I ask you for a spirit of wisdom. I pray that you would guide them with your hand of divine providence that guided the founders of our country and help create the nation that we enjoy today. And I pray as they go about their responsibilities, Lord, that they can be conduits of your love and reflectors of your light, and that your wisdom would rest on them. And Lord, I thank you for their service. I lift up our law enforcement and firefighters, teachers, other public servants that are out there making a difference. And pray you protect them and encourage them and help our community to support them. Lord, we know who you are and what you've done, and we thank you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. We're a little bit out of order here, so if everybody can have a seat for a second. Start again.
Just go sit or kneel during the...
We welcome all our visitors today and appreciate your participation. If you need to have personal conversations, please step outside. Also, if you have cell phones, we would ask you to put them on silent during today's meeting. Clerk of the board, please call roll.
Commissioner Rowan?
Present.
Commissioner Wilcox? Commissioner Ross?
Present. With the quorum present, I call to order this meeting of the Elbert County Board of County Commissioners, convening this 14th day of September 2016 at 9:04 a.m. We've done the invocation. Thank you very much, Pastor James. Mr. Harris, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Commissioners, we have before us an agenda. Are there any changes to today's agenda? Mr. Wilcox indicated that perhaps rewording of item number 2 under new business.
Should we do that when we get back to number 2, motion to amend?
We have to set the agenda at the start. Do you have a motion to change the agenda?
I would have a motion to change the agenda to essentially adjust the language that we presented regarding the budget.
Okay. So under item number 200.
Under item number 2, the current proposal states direct county manager to re-engage with elected officials and department heads to make revisions to current draft budget not to exceed 2016 expenditures. I would like to amend that to state that direct the county manager to re-engage with elected officials and department heads to present a budget based on incremental budgeting, which includes statutory, contractual, and departmental increases, resulting in a balance of the 2017 projected revenues. Additionally, we would like to see the reserves equal to or greater than the 2016 reserves.
Second. Discussion.
I'll reserve my discussions when we get to the item.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Clerk of the board, did you get that on there?
I believe Commissioner Wilcox was going to email it to you.
Okay. Chair would move on item number 3 under new business for this to read, direct community development services to work with county manager on budget development period, strike, absent of BOCC oversight for working on budget revisions.
I would recommend leaving that there simply because, just for clarification purposes, since the Board of County Commissioners still is officially the oversight supervising entity for CDS, I think it just helps clarify the intent of what we're trying to accomplish for this particular item. I would certainly, I don't think it harms anything, it just gives additional clarity to the intent of what we're trying to accomplish. So I would recommend leaving that.
I find this statement absent of BOCC oversight to be confusing the issue, and so anybody doesn't misconstrue it or intent is not to interfere with or meddle in the work of the county manager and the budget team with all the other departments, including CDS. This language is more directly communicating by saying direct community development services to the work of the county manager on budget development. Period. Motion's been made and seconded. Do you have any comments?
You know, the only thing with Robert, I was looking at that and I thought, absent of BOCC oversight, I kind of thought, the first part is pretty clear. I thought it was really clear. That's why I kind of thought, absent of BOCC oversight. Well, does that actually apply to this case? I don't know, because there may come a time when we may have to provide some oversight in this. So that's why I kind of thought those two reasons. So, because the first sentence pretty much said.
All right, let me do this. Based upon the comments that we were making here on being on the record and for stating the intent, and that's what we're really trying to accomplish. That's what we're really trying to do. And I don't have a problem then with the amendment as long as we understand that the board is basically saying that while we are the supervisors for CDS, we are going to stand down on this particular item while CDS works and directly with the county manager and the budget team on the budget development of the draft that we expect to get in the next week, 10 days, 2 weeks, and that it doesn't require the board's oversight or approval or interaction as a normal supervisor relationship might. As long as we understand that, I think that's what Commissioner Ross said too, and it's on the record as being clear, I have no problem.
I understand it clear.
Yeah, I believe what this does is clarify what the expectations of the board are. So, given that motion's been made and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Chair would offer a motion to change, add actually, item 4. This was actually contemplated in our agenda meeting, but didn't make it onto this agenda, so I'll state it this way. Chair moves to have outside counsel Steve Larson to be available to participate in executive session on September 28th, 2016 via telephone conference. Additionally, Steve Larson to participate, if necessary, in BOCC proceedings, including executive session on the 11th of October 2016. May I have a second?
One second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes. I was going to discuss this during staff reports, but since you've been brought up as a motion, I'll discuss it now and make my comments as follows. We've just received what we've been waiting for from Johnson Bertucci, Mr. Larson, in terms of his report on the non-state employer investigation. And he has given us pretty detailed opinion. And I've read it thoroughly and brought my own obviously with that. But anyway, I believe that it is pretty clear what the opinion is. We've now received 3 opinions, one from Non-States Employers Council, one from the district attorney, and now one from Johnson Bertucci. So we've got 3 opinions on the issue. I do clearly believe it's time to bring that issue to a close and conclusion, and considering all three of those, giving everybody time to get up to speed on it, we've spent $21,636 with Johnson and Rucci to date. Most of that is for open record requests, a lot of which I still am on record as opposing as being unauthorized, but that's another matter. So I would suggest that in lieu of not spending any more taxpayer resources and moving forward with what I think is the product that we're waiting to hear from him on, I don't believe we need to incur any more expense by having him actually available for that meeting to explain what I think is clearly explained in the report. I would recommend that we save those resources for other needs.
Well, my take on this is that we have come a long way towards concluding this matter and rely on council's participation in this, and to not have the option available to consult with him to bring this to a close would be a mistake in my view. It could be that his participation in a follow-on next month may not be necessary, but this allows us to have options to have clarification if necessary from outside counsel, and the teleconference on the 28th would be a relatively minimal expense because there's no travel time. If indeed he does need to come to a future meeting, he's agreed to only charge one-way travel time. But as I said, it may not include language if necessary, so that it can be determined as we move through this. So I stand by my motion to once again move to have Steve Larson, outside counsel, be available to participate in the executive session on 28th September 2016 via teleconference, and I'll also have Steve Larson participate necessary in BOCC proceedings, including executive session on 11th October 2016. Do you have any comments?
Well, I do, just a question. I think the language read be available, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not under any, we're not obligated at that point, there's no charge, right? Correct? Or is there a charge for him to be available?
If while in executive session, this question arise, they'll be available to call him on the telephone.
Okay, but at that point, unless we call him, there are no charges incurred for the county, correct? Okay, and Robert, I don't know that we're even gonna have to communicate with the man, but I thought if we start through things and get into a situation where we're not sure what to do or what way to turn or need some clarification, I thought that would be a resource we could use. And that was the one reason I thought that having that individual available if we need it, it would be our one source we could call. And that was what I was.
Let me be clear, and I have a comment, and I think I have an amendment to the agenda myself now. But let me ask a question. Can you read back what the Mr. Ross's motion was? I thought it was to bring it here, not to have it.
No.
Hold.
The meeting in
I
October
don't, thank you, I got it.
was for in September was for teleconference, and be available to come on he said the 11th, but the 12th is our normal meeting day.
Okay, so only available.
Okay.
Okay.
I misstated that.
We need
No,
to
you
change
didn't
it.
actually. You said available.
You indicated our October meeting on the 12th.
Yeah, the 12th is the Wednesday.
Okay. I'm going to withdraw the previous motion and restate it again. Chair moves to have outside counsel Stephen Larson to be available to participate in executive session on 28th September 2016 via teleconference. Additionally, to have Steve Larson participate if necessary in BOCC proceedings, including executive session on October 12th, 2016. Do I have a second to that?
I'd second that.
Okay. Now we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a second motion for an addition, related addition to the agenda today. I think it's time, and I'm going to move that we, the board approve the report from Mr. Larson, from Mountain States, and from, I think, and it doesn't need to be the district attorney, that's already been public. I'm going to move that the board approve that the report from Mountain States Reporter Council and Mr. Larson's Johnson Ritucci be given to our county attorney for review to be available for the same meetings in your motion. We have an attorney.
Okay.
In addition, or?
Okay, let's stop right there. That-
Okay.
Yeah, ideas out there,
Can you ask for a second?
I'll ask for a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. First of all, we can only refer to the Johnson and Ritucci report in generic terms, not the specifics of it whatsoever, and it's clear in that report that it's a product of this board and it's strictly confidential amongst the three people at this table. To advance that towards anyone else would be inappropriate and probably would result in unnecessary legal action. So I oppose your amended motion. Adam?
And I respect that. I would disagree, obviously, and believe that it's not Mr. Larson's decision to determine what in this organization is confidential. I don't believe this is our own county attorney who obviously deals with a lot of confidential legal matters and advises this board. And I think it's only appropriate that we start using our own in-house counsel. And I think now is an appropriate time to guide us forward rather than using outside. But I don't have a problem with getting a second opinion and using him in addition. So I guess we will respectfully agree to disagree.
Well, respectfully, it was determined by a majority vote of this board that our county attorney is compromised in this matter.
That was not decided, sir. That was an
And
accusation.
it was decided to use outside
It's
counsel
an accusation, full-time.
and legal statutory citations were made to the effect of the confidentiality of this work product.
Could I say something?
I have a motion.
Could I say something?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Larry, Robert, I think, both looking at this, I understand, Robert, what you're saying, and Larry, I see your side too. However, what I'm trying to think through, if we end up in a process where we have to do something internally, what we could very well be in a situation where we may need to do something, and then Larry, and both of you at that point, we may have to rely on our internal resources, which would be our attorney here. So if they're aware of the circumstances and know what's going on, granted, they don't have to play a role in anything, but you might have to take part in that to help with certain things. That's why I think that would probably be a better way. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, no, not really. It's been made extremely clear that although certain documents will transmit to the personnel file of the individual involved,
That's not the recommendation.
that the Johnson Ritucci report is considered work product under Colorado revised statute and is strictly confidential. And the board has requested. Chair moves to call the question. Do I have a second
We have a second already.
on calling the
One
question?
second.
No. Do you second calling the question?
I'll second.
Okay. Question has been called. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion, number 4 then passes.
No, we just.
Now you
We
have.
passed the call. Now you can-
Oh, correct you are. All right.
Just get some move out.
Question's been called. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now,
Okay. Motion passes. Now, Commissioner Rowland wishes to add an item number 5 to the agenda. Restate that, please.
once you read it, then that's fine, I'll read it. Say it.
Commissioner Rowland moves to approve that the Mountain Saints Council report and the repeater report be given to County Attorney Wade Daly to be available and to be available at the next 2 meetings as stated in the previous motion. Should be the meetings on the 28th and the 12th.
Can you say that again, please?
Commissioner Rowland moved that the reports from both Mountain States Employers Council and the Raputia report be given to the county attorney to be made available and for him to be available for consultation at the next 2 meetings.
We have a second.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay.
We have a second.
You got a second?
Second.
Okay. Once again, this goes against advice of counsel and matters of good judgment, in my opinion. I think that the most expeditious way to dispose of this matter is to stay the course and solve it as recommended by outside counsel.
And I respectfully disagree with both. So,
I still go back to what I said before. I think if we have to do something internally, we're kind of obligated to involve the attorney that we employ. And that's the only reason I'm thinking that, because we may end up having to do something there. So,
You know,
and I think it also clarifies exactly what we're on too. Right? So, that's why.
Commissioner Will.
I make a motion to call the question.
I'm not done discussing
You need
this.
to address my motion.
It's important, because you were not present or involved in these deliberations earlier on.
I wasn't, so I don't know.
And so there was a specific reason why the majority of this board voted to engage outside counsel and has proceeded as such to this point. And call it whatever you want. It was the opinion of the majority of the board that our in-house counsel was conflicted on this particular issue, and that we would be advised by outside counsel. And I think common sense dictates that we consider the advice of outside counsel and bring this matter to a close. I therefore oppose Commissioner Rowland's motion to release this confidential document to the county attorney.
And I would simply say in your discussion that, and respectfully disagreeing that the accusation of conflict has never been substantiated, was done unfounded in my opinion. I think in the opinion of lots of others, but we don't need to argue that. I think the point is where we are in the recommendations from these 3 reports, one of which has already been given to the county attorney because it came from the district attorney as a public document. But the other 2, it is time to return to the team and the staff that we have in-house to determine how we resolve this issue, which I think has been clearly determined to be right for resolution. And it just doesn't, in my opinion, make any sense, and there is no basis other than accusations that were never substantiated that would prevent that from being the appropriate approach, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, I'll close on this note. What you're suggesting we do is in contravention of a majority decision by the Board of County Commissioners of Elton County. Dangerous place to ago. I would hope that in the future we can rely on in-house counsel on most all matters, and other than highly specialized ones. In this case, it was very deliberate, very drawn out, created a lot of anxiety on everybody's part, and would be, like I said, a decision in contravention of the previous decision by the majority of this board.
But we have a right to make the decisions going forward as well. including-
I wish I knew that. Really, I do.
We have a perfectly adequate and satisfactory, very professional attorney handling the matter, and should close out the matter with that counsel in place and done with this, in my opinion.
And we are in conjunction with that attorney, and I think that just makes straight to the decision and to the direction and to the legal adherence that we have our own attorney. And work in conjunction. We didn't say we weren't going to do it without Mr. Larson's. We've already voted on it before and approved it. But this is, I think this is the best way to forge back to where it belongs on our in-house staff. So that said, I think I'd like to call the question, sir.
Well, I'm going to make
that
one more
motion,
comment
please.
since you made another one. It's been indicated to me that the Johnson and Rakucci report is confidential work product under Colorado revised statute. So to further introduce this other element to this matter could possibly break the law.
We have-
I don't think this board is prepared to break the law.
Client privilege, we have our own attorney.
Okay? You
All right, you guys, no. I understand, I wish I knew this. I really do.
Well,
But I'm looking at things and I understand, I read the report. Truly, I don't think we have much to worry about there. I think the only reason I'm stating it, and the only reason I think we need to keep our attorney to some degree involved is because it may involve doing something internally. And I think we wouldn't go to Larson for that, and that's the reason I'm stating it. And I wish I knew the history.
well, the history is,
It sounds pretty significant.
it is, and in personnel-related matters, it's really important to protect the rights and confidentiality of the employee in a process. This board is capable of digesting and utilizing the information that we have in our hands now to make an informed decision on how to proceed. And that's the purpose of proceeding in executive session in our next meeting and driving towards a conclusion. It's been pointed out in the report, and statutory citations were made there, that to do otherwise and divulge this report to anyone outside of this board would be a violation of Colorado revised statutes. And I don't know what else I can say. We can finish this up in short order with outside counsel, or we can risk exposing this county to legal liability and perhaps a criminal violation. I won't be complicit in that. I must oppose Commissioner Rowland's motion.
Mr. Chairman, would you now please entertain my motion for a call to question?
One other thing. In light of the fact that you're brand new here, you don't have the backstory on this and the conflict that ensued, it would be perfectly appropriate for you to recuse yourself from this conflict. Or we have another option to table the item 5.
Sir, could you at least entertain my motion under Robert's Rules of Order to call the question? At least.
He's still coming.
Well, but I have a right to call the question and then vote on it. If you guys want to do that, you can vote me down, but I'd like to call the question. Motion.
we are concerned about this information going outside of us three, and now we're involving one other person who's got a higher dollar than he stands for. So that individual, if that information were to go out, and it's as a result of our attorney, then that's another issue. That's something that
Well,
we should be able to trust that at least our attorney would keep that information private between us. Then at that point, it's us four.
well,
So if that information goes out, like we've got a problem.
okay. I really don't want to go here, but to give you an example, Mr. Wilcox, and I'm not trying to be stubborn, I'm just trying to do the right thing.
I understand.
Okay, efforts were made to maintain confidentially throughout this entire process, and I'm not speaking out of school because this happened in a public meeting that was recorded. Our county attorney breached confidence in a public meeting by stating the individual's name. There are very good reasons why we had to go to outside counsel in order to resolve this matter, and to exclude the county attorney from involvement because of his legal and ethical conflicts. It would be really unwise to share this particular report as its work product under Colorado revised statutes. I don't know how many different ways I
Is
can
this
say
a
it.
comment that was made in public regarding the attorney?
It was
Please?
It was brought out publicly by Mr. Gate, the particular person's name in question. His confidence was duty bound to protect. So there are sufficient and several reasons why we went to outside counsel and why we have been advised to maintain confidentiality of this report. It sets out a roadmap for us to follow to avoid unnecessary exposure to liability.
Mr. Chairman, once again, beating the dead horse, we have a board. I would ask to be considered and recognized for a motion to call the question. I would ask a second on my motion to call the question.
Can you say this? You guys know the question. Does this go back? And if I didn't know the history, I wish I did. But does this go back to the comment made in an open setting as to?
The attempt, the process by the majority of the Board of County Commissioners prior to your being here to remove the county attorneys from the process, which was prior, the timing is off, to the alleged comment that he is making that was never determined to be a foundation or a basis for a legal conflict. These are assumptions, not legal conclusions, and these were opinions. And I have mine, he has his, and the truth of the matter is, the bottom line is our attorney, in my opinion, has never been, is never been, and is not currently conflicted. And we have a county attorney to handle our internal matters who's quite competent and capable of doing so, particularly at the stage we're at in the report. And it just doesn't make any sense from the use of fiduciary use of resources. And if you've got a staff, use your staff. And to make these accusations continually, you talk about liabilities. I believe that's where the real liability lies here. These are unfair, they're unfounded, they're unproven, they're just accusations. And I think it's time that we get away from that and return to the business of this county. And my motion stands, and I would ask for a motion to call the question. I'm not going to ask for it again.
This is not taking the form of an accusation. This is restating what happened in a public meeting, in full view of the public. It's on the record. And this county attorney has demonstrated willingness, ability to reach confidence in this matter. And
That is just not true. That is simply not true.
it's Okay,
I
so,
want to read about one of the, couple other things for you.
okay, so you'd like to continue this matter?
Yeah.
Okay, so, to clear the motion on the table, once again, Chair opposes this motion. All in favor?
I would make one final comment. If we're going to continue this matter, it conflicts with the previous motion to include our attorney in the discussion with the outside attorney. And I don't know what the timing of the reconsideration is, but if we have a meeting with the outside attorney on this matter prior to the reconsideration of this motion being made, that doesn't work. So we're going to either have to have a special meeting and consider my motion between now and the time your motion 4 to bring the outside attorney in to make a determination whether my motion will be approved or turned down.
Well, that would
And
certainly
then
be,
that's the only way I can see to do it, but I would expect that this be considered before Mr. Larson is brought in to discuss this matter.
well, we can consider it in executive session on the 28th, and call a special meeting to do it. Commissioner Wilcox is at his pleasure to seek counsel, and I think he should, to understand the matter, and he's expressed the wish to further investigate it. So, I will request, I will request a follow-on motion to table, this matter.
I need him to read back number 4.
Number 4 has already been passed.
I know, but I need to know what the dates were. So you got the 28th and the 28th, how are we going to do that at the same time?
Same thing.
28th and the 12th.
You can't do it in the same meeting, it's got to be done.
What are we gonna do?
Well, perhaps it would please the board to enable Commissioner Wilcox to seek counsel. I advise him not to utilize in-house counsel on this issue. Certainly, Mr. Larson is available for you to call and converse with, so you can explain to you because he knows this intimately.
You have to vote on the board to approve that. You're only approved to do certain things with Mr. Wilson. If you'd like Mr. Wilcox to be able to confer with him at cost, you have to make a motion to that. and put it before the vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like to amend your motion or make an amendment to Commissioner Bowman's motion
To see,
to take,
without just counting.
continue this item to a future date, allowing you a chance to confer with outside counsel and authorize the same?
I would make a motion to see if we can do some research.
And authorizing,
Authorizing,
Who's making the motion?
I am authorizing expenditures that I
With Mr. Larson?
confer with Mr. Larson, or just Mr. Larson.
So you speak up on that.
okay, are you making this an amendment? There's a motion on the table, Commissioner Bowman made, to divulge the work product.
Work product, right. And I'm proposing a motion.
You want to amend that motion?
Amend that motion, that's what I need to do, because right now I'm very confused about all the motions and where we're at. Would it be a separate motion?
Would it be
Okay.
a separate motion? Or did you?
Okay,
We have,
okay.
Commissioner Rowland,
I can clear this up. Okay, pursuant to Commissioner Rowland's motion, it's on the table to divulge this work product to the county attorney. I amend the motion to continue to a future meeting to be determined. Period.
That takes care of that.
I need a second on that one.
I'll second that one, so that takes care of that.
I would amend your motion, sir. I would amend your motion to have a specific date included in it. Not undetermined.
Okay.
Just
What date is next Wednesday, clerk?
21st.
Okay. Would you like to restate that to date certain 21st? We will call for a special meeting on the 21st.
It was your motion, Commissioner Ross.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you.
Getting off. Okay. Chair wishes to, moves to amend Commissioner Rowland's motion to add an item number 5 to allow participation of in-house counsel on the Johnson and Wakuchi matter. Further moves that this item be continued to September 21st, 9 a.m.
Second, I'll second that. You got it?
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that has been continued. Now, back to the original motion. It has been continued. So, do we need to do anything to dispose of that original motion? Okay. That matter has been continued to September 21st. And chair moves, so there's no question or doubt, to authorize any or all of this Board of County Commissioners to confer with outside counsel as they deem appropriate to gain advice on this matter.
Can you say outside counsel if you want to name that specifically to be?
I will name that specifically to be Johnson and Wakuchi firm, Attorney Steve Larson. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
I'm going to name it. You guys can.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Nay.
Clerk, for the record, motion passes. You want to do a roll call vote on that?
You got it. I nay.
Commissioner Ross.
Nay.
Commissioner Ross.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox.
Aye.
Okay, now, any other changes proposed to this
Still on
agenda?
the first part there.
Yeah.
That took a long way to get here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Punctuate's important in the act, agenda meeting on these. So, agenda has been presented and amended. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show that the second was made by Commissioner Wilker.
Can I?
By who? By Commissioner Wilcox.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as, is there any correspondence today? Seeing none, may I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented and approve the consent agenda as amended? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent, approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any awards and recognition? Okay. Elected officials, department heads, and staff reports. I think I'll leave this off today. It's kind of interesting. Somebody caught me the other day and asked basically what I'd be doing yesterday. And sort of led me to believe, well, people probably wonder what we do when we're not here. And this gives me an opportunity to introduce some of the extracurricular activities commissioners are privileged to involve themselves in. And quite a great spectrum of services, including services to seniors and as well as senior bus transit system and assistance with pursuing grants for economic development opportunities. We have just updated last year our comprehensive economic development strategy to include 11 items for Elbert County. Among them were and this gives us the opportunity to, of course, dole for grant money to pursue items of interest to the public and taxpayers. For example, economic development and feasibility studies for our I-70 corridor, Highway 24, Highway 86, other major thoroughfares that may have an opportunity for commercial development. That would be one item. So, very worthwhile organization, and I'm going to recommend that they come in and do a presentation to the board to better explain the whole function of that organization. Yesterday, on invitation from the Colorado Real Estate Journal, I attended a industrial real estate development summit and exposition up in Inverness. It was well attended by 300 or 400 real estate professionals and other government officials and so forth. Very informative as to what direction industrial development is headed in Colorado. Of particular interest is one thing that was made mention of is that logistics and distribution and transportation of products and that type of industrial development is being referred to in the profession, real estate profession, as the new retail. I don't know how many people, it'd be easier to say how many people have not ordered something online, from Amazon Prime or otherwise. I mean, this is really here and today, and we have an opportunity perhaps out on the I-70 corridor to encourage that sort of logistics and distribution hub. I know that there are companies that are currently pitching Lyman to do development over there, but we have access to the same relative infrastructure and ability to do it. And we have several highways that's on I-70 that were placed back when they built that interstate highway that have never been used. So that represents perhaps an opportunity for the future. And that was very interesting and worthwhile. Took half a day, and the rest of the day was consumed by traveling to Longmont, where I sit on the South Platte Basin Roundtable. And that's very interesting as well because at the governor's executive order a few years ago, the roundtables were tasked to come up with inputs to a state water plan. It's a very large document, and it really basically means nothing unless somebody puts legs under it and actually pursues the primary issue of probable water gap, the gap between available water and demand over the next 2030 and following on into 2050. So now this is where the rubber meets the road, and we're starting to get suggestions brought forward by various water lawyers, among other people, and you know, it was suggested last night by one attorney that perhaps we should deviate from the concept or the doctrine of prior appropriation in the state of Colorado. Of course, there's nothing like that could possibly happen without legislation to that effect, and trust me, that is not well received. Most of us hang our hats on that doctrine. I don't want to get too political about it, but this is where those discussions take place as the Platte River Basin, which we are part of, is going to be instrumental in trying to figure out how to solve this problem, whether it be through increased reservoir storage, new supplies from somewhere, but going forward, this is going to be a very interesting place to be. So that's what I did on my day off. Public comment is a time when any citizen may bring forth items of interest or concern. During this time, each individual will have 3 minutes to present views on county matters. In the interest of time, please have your comments prepared for presentation, as each person will be allowed one opportunity to approach the podium. Please keep your comments to a 3-minute maximum. No formal action will be taken on these items during this time due to open meeting provisions. However, the items may be placed on future or posted agenda if action is required. If you have comments on a regular agenda item, please hold your comments until that item is up for consideration. The public comment portion of the BOCC meeting is not to be used for political or campaign purposes. Comments and questions should be limited to matters of current county affairs and business. When you approach the podium, please identify yourself, spell your last name, and give your address. I've read that whole thing. Somebody's going to have to talk. Mr. Harris?
Bill Harris, 808 Caribou, Assembly, Colorado. And the subject is marijuana. It's been in times past the board's position that we don't want marijuana in Elbert County. Check your map, Simla is in Elbert County. It's going to be on the ballot in Simla, and rest assured, it will probably be voted in. Now, I know we are a home rule town. Basically means you don't have too much to say about it. But yet, the BOCC has in times past said we don't want it in our county. But you still have influence in the county and in Simla. We need as much help as we can possibly get from the BOCC and from our sheriff. Because there again, we're home rule. He doesn't have too much power in Simla, but yet it's like a cancer, it's marijuana. We're going to grow it, we're going to sell it, and we're going to manufacture everything, and it will be for recreational purposes as well. So, when it gets past the city limits, then it's going to be in your back door, it'll be in your front room. We need your help. 383 voters in Simla can put this thing through. There is out-of-state people coming into Simla now and dangling $1 million. That's how much money you will bring into the town of Simla in 1 year. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but everybody in Simla says, oh, this is the golden fleece. We want that $1 million. We want to get paved roads. They don't say a thing about the criminal element that's going to come in. They don't say a thing about how much it's going to cost us to protect the residents in Simla. The majority of us in Simla, we all carry guns. The majority of them know how to use it. But the criminal element comes in, and they also know how to use it, and they got bigger guns. And the sheriff's department has to patrol between Simla and Lyman, and that's wide open space. There's nothing there. So they're going to be infiltrating the town and bringing this stuff into the town, and it's going to stress and stretch our sheriff's department. You control the budget for the sheriff, he's going to need an airplane to keep track of this stuff. We're going to need all the help we can get, and you are influential enough in our county to help us stop this. 383 voters, that's all. But they're not being given the truth. And we need to get the truth out and try to persuade these 383. At 6:30 this morning, there was almost a fight in the restaurant dealing with the subject of marijuana. One person said, we've been giving our kids marijuana for the last 20 years in Holland. And a person stood up and said, well, if it's so good, why don't you go back to Holland and go to work instead of working as a waitress here in the restaurant? Things got out of hand there. Things need to be taken care of, but need to be taken care of correctly. And the people perish for lack of knowledge. And we do not have knowledge as concerning the pros and cons of marijuana, other than it's going to bring money into our city. And there's no doubt that sounds good, but the majority of the voters in Simla are senior citizens. but we have a brand new $25 million school with 300 kids in it, and rest assured, they'll know where they can get the marijuana at if it's right down the street from them. We have a board of trustees that said we're going to put it on the ballot, and they did, and it is on the ballot. But we need your help as leaders of our county. And I know we're home world and your hands are tied, the sheriff's hands are tied. But still in all, you're influential, and we need your help, we need your influence to try to persuade the voters to vote this thing down. And just remember, they're coming in from Denver with all kinds of information about how prosperous it's going to make your town. But they don't have any way of telling how much it's going to cost us in the long run. And they're supposed to, our town council has to put together a group of individuals to try to police this thing. And it's not going to work. So we need your help, and we need your help now. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just on a related matter, I've shared with the members of the board an ordinance that was passed in unincorporated Douglas County in August, and it had a lot of merit. Once again, you understand it's unincorporated other county versus municipalities, but I concur with the fact that there are too numerous to count the unintended negative consequences of this and burden that it puts on everybody else. So your comments are heard, and we're having problems in our jurisdiction as well. And I'm prepared to move forward with entertaining information from the sheriff's office and referencing what other jurisdictions have done on this issue before it gets worse. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to talk during public comment. But, yes, sir.
September the 28th at 7 p.m. at the school, we're going to have an open meeting where anybody and everybody is invited dealing with this marijuana subject. September 28th.
September 28th.
At the school at 7 p.m. We'd love to have as many as you can be there to express your opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Ms. Rose.
Good morning, Commissioners. Marvin Rose, 33, 300 Ridge Road. I hadn't intended on speaking, but I'd like to go on record to say I said at that meeting, or sat that I heard our county attorney blurt out in a public meeting the name of an employee. Mr. Wilcock, I'd like to ask you too, you might follow up with outside counsel. He was there. He heard the same. Anybody else in the room want to raise your hand if you were there? So it's well documented, except for it's not in minutes.
That's why it's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's not doing it. It was in the invoices from the lawyer. The name was listed, given to our county department.
Any other public comment? Placed under old business, pursuant to a vote of this board at a previous meeting. In fact, it's probably worthwhile. The agenda item and the motion that's passed goes to direct county attorney to advise BOCC regarding the matter, in particular the validity and enforceability of agreements with private boards, as public county zoning regulations, Colorado revised statutes, and to advise whether to engage Josh Marks, the Council Council, due to the complexity of the issue and work with CDS staff and staff reports being advised. So the purpose of this Actually, it would be appropriate for me to make this motion since this is my item, I guess. Chair moves to have county attorney provide status of legal advisement, date of it, and the date of the anticipated report regarding duty agreement pursuant to the direction given in our last meeting. Mr. Gately?
To make a very short statement, I think I can have a memorandum to present to the board as a confidential memorandum by September 28th, roughly in 2 weeks. I wanted to let you know that progress is being made on this. I would like to review the pictures provided by CDS, and I will move forward in providing a memorandum to the board.
Is that the answer, or do you need the motion?
Actually,
I think we put a motion out there, we need a second.
yeah, I got us out of order here again. I apologize. I will restate the motion and ask for a second.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Gately provided the answer we asked for. All in favor of accepting his proposal to have an advisement confidential memorandum to the board by September 28th. All in favor?
Are you amending your first motion? It's still hanging out there.
Okay. As to the first motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You did it. Thank you. And enough said. I think we can move on. Okay, moving on to new business. And public comment may be provided on these items as deemed appropriate. Number one, was brought forward by Commissioner Rowland, who pointed out that we currently do not have a vice chair. So number one is decision regarding appointment of BOCC chair and vice chair. Commissioner Rowland.
It's just been traditional, historic, and as board changes, any board changes that the board, we revisit the chair and vice chair, that's what I'm asking the board to do. So I would move that Amy Wilcox be named the vice chair.
Second. Any discussion? Made and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
You can vote for yourself.
Okay.
Motion passes. Introducing our new vice chair of the Board of County Commissioners. Any other matters on this? Okay, moving to item number 2. Commissioner Wilcox, you have
Need a motion.
you can make a motion to the effect of your revised agenda item. How about that?
Can we get it read back?
Okay, the way it previously read was direct county manager to re-engage with elected officials and department heads to make revisions to the current draft budget not to exceed 2016 expenditures. So then the proposed language, what I looked at based on what we're currently doing, direct county manager to re-engage with elected officials and department heads to present a budget based on incremental budgeting, which includes statutory, contractual, and departmental increases, resulting in a balance of the 2017 projected revenues. Then additionally, we would like to see reserves equal to or greater than the 2016 reserves.
So moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I think we discussed this earlier, but just for the sake of refreshing everybody's memories. What we're trying to do here is, after a little bit of confusion, that's for lack of a better description, we're seeking to send directives or give direction as a board to the staff on the budget process, which, we're not running out of time, time is of the essence here. And what we're asking is that everybody get back together, working together, understanding the need for teamwork, and to recognize the overall 30,000-foot view of the county, not necessarily individual needs, even though those needs may exist. And we're just asking the board to be back to what they've done so well for the last 2 years under the direction of the county manager and re-engage and work together as a team to come up with a budget using a basic zero-based expense budget increase over last year as a starting point, which is what you do anyway, so I'm just stating the obvious. I'm not making any suggestion that's not already being done. And if that's what we're trying to accomplish, we just need to stay on track, we need everybody working together, and we need everybody concentrating on getting us a good, viable, workable, reasonable budget by the 15th of October. And that's basically what we're trying to accomplish, and I think Commissioner Wilcox's revision is more professionally stated than the original one. It says the same thing, and I hope it's clearly understood by the county manager, and he can speak for himself. It is.
I would just indicate that Commissioner Wilcox, are you satisfied with the motion language?
Yes, I am.
And the direction of giving staff?
I think that gives them direction and gives them the latitude to work together to come to a good budget.
Okay. I see our county manager is up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Ingham, County Manager. Given the proposed direction, we appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome. In addition, we had a meeting scheduled with the Commissioners for tomorrow to present the first round of the budget. That meeting will be canceled. We don't have time to revise or revisit those numbers. Staff will be sending out meeting invitations. We hope to do that meeting. We still want to do that meeting before we present the budget to you on October 15th per statute. So we'll be sending out meeting invitations for the week of the 26th. We're shooting right now for Tuesday the 27th at 2 p.m. So, just informational.
That'll be the commissioners?
That'll be the Commissioners. So it'll be a posted meeting, and you'll see all of your elected officials and department heads that participate in the budget to talk about their particular part in the budget and how the budget works and their suggestions for 27th.
So that would be a presentation of the draft budget in advance of the actual presentation of the draft budget on the 12th of March.
It's just moving the meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow, where we were going to present the budget to you guys tomorrow, to the 27th.
What was the time on that again?
2 o'clock.
2. Very good. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, discussed. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, next one, item number 3, on the agenda as amended.
My motion. Why? That is when we make the motion.
I'll just restate the agenda item. Direct community development services to work with county manager on budget development.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that one?
Again, just for clarification, and seemingly somewhat bureaucratic here, but again, just simply because of the legal structure of the board being the supervising agency or of the CDS department currently, we want to make sure that it's clear that we approve and endorse the CDS department being able to work directly with the team, with the county manager on this particular issue, developing this budget for the meeting here on the 27th, without necessarily needing to come to us and calling a special meeting and voting that we got, we want to change the, or do something like do this. Giving them the authority to work together without our oversight, even though we're the supervising agency. That's what this is about. So, just a procedure.
At the risk of being redundant here, motion's been made, seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, now we're moving on to number 4, so we're not confused, because there's quite a bit of deliberation and discussion with regard to this, the language in these agenda items and they were placed. So, Chair, on item number 4, new business, Chair moves
motion to amend and add, if necessary, to the first date as well, just if necessary on both.
Okay, I'll restate the motion. I'll withdraw my motion and restate it. Chair moves to direct Steve Larson, outside counsel, to be available if necessary to participate in executive session on September 28, 2016 via telephone conference, and to direct Steve Larson to participate if necessary in board proceedings, including executive session on the 12th of October 2016.
Second.
Commissioner Rowland seconded first, so give him credit for that one. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, item number 5, is a motion, or the agenda item added to, I'm gonna need some help on this.
Yeah, 5 no longer.
Yeah.
We struck 5.
That-
5 became moot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, the agenda number 5 is with regard to authorizing each and every member of this board to confer with Stephen Larson, outside counsel, on this particular personnel matter. Chair moves to authorize this board and individuals thereof confer as they deem appropriate, confer with outside counsel on an employee-related matter.
Robert, that's similar.
We've already addressed that.
We addressed that, I think we already covered that, that's.
So we didn't actually vote on the agenda, so I just, we voted to put it on the agenda. It just seemed like we
Oh, okay.
there. So,
Hopefully we don't go through this all again.
no, we'll do
Okay.
that next time. So do I have a second on that? Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Nay. We did vote.
Yeah,
Remember,
I
did
know,
that vote?
I did.
Okay, well then, just making sure that,
I thought we did.
we did a roll call vote. We
Yeah.
did it while we were discussing the agenda, so this makes it official. 2 to 1 in favor of authorizing board members to seek outside counsel and advice on this personnel matter. Any land use? No land use? Attorney to the board? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
10:18.
All in favor?